Valheim, just the news, none of the fluff. Let's go! So we have an update to the public test branch today. And I also noticed over here that Valheim is currently on sale, 40% off. So if you're thinking about inviting a friend to play or maybe give it as a gift, this might be a good time to do that. Quite a few good things in this test branch update. First one since Hilda's request came out. The abbreviated highlights, new build piece, blue standing brazier. It looks pretty good, I gotta say that. To build one of these, it's the same as the other except that you use Grey Dwarf eyes. Another good use for those. Server modifiers can be set to dedicated servers directly. Yay! This is really nice because you don't have to go and do any kind of crazy downloading the world, reloading the world, all kinds of stuff like that to be able to get to the update on dedicated servers. So we definitely appreciate that on the Happy Gamer server. And many others too, I'm sure. Extended Haldor music. Added player list to pause menu. Balance improvements. Lots of bugs fixes and world modifier fixers. Let's get into it. Here's our detailed patch notes. New build piece, blue standing brazier, we already said. Word modifiers and presets can now be set to dedicated servers using parameters in the startup bat file. See the manual. There's now a manual. Or using console as an admin. That's going to be a good one. So this may also be using the console of your server provider. Like how I use HostTZ, who is the sponsor of this video and has this great UI. Just folders and easy to navigate through. I'm not going to read every single one of these little tiny things, but I'm going to hit the highlights. Added player list to pause menu. Is that on dedicated servers? How would that work? What does that mean? I need to find out. Several more console commands are now available for admins. Resource scaling fixes for Dragon Egg, Fishing Pole, and Skeleton Chest. Disabled a Hugin hint spreading disinformation about Hilda. That cracks me up. What was this? I don't know what that was. Does anybody know what that was? Halder and okay, try again. Halder and Hilder dialogue lines will be displayed a bit longer to make them easier to read. That's a nice touch because it's always like, look quick, or you're going to miss what they said. You will no longer switch between snapping points while having the console or chat open. Handy. Fixed snap points naming for hot tub oven and removed one excess snap point for barber station. Darkwood beam snap point naming matched with other beams. Consistency can be good. Change some snap points on Woodgate and Darkwood Gate. Black marble bench and table no longer take rain damage. Nice. I like it when anything is not taking rain damage. You can now activate the guardian power again when using the hammer hoe and cultivator. This is nice. I was curious what that meant at first, but basically like you can use your bone mass power or whatever. You can activate it while you still have your hammer hoe or cultivator out and get moving. Some of the mobs were dropping multiple trophies. They got rid of that. Increased crafting station radius should now block spawn area and stop items from despawning correctly. That's good. For boss battles, mobs spawned by bosses will now aggro the player even when playing with the passive mobs modifier since the boss already was aggroed. That's good. Don't want a bunch of mobs just walking around during a boss battle not doing anything. Thought this was interesting. Reduced HP on mini bosses spawned during Hilder events by 50%. I guess that they decided that was a bit OP or too tough anyway. Brenna is now more resistant against knockbacks. The ballista has been updated and it will now accept the trophies from the Hilder's request bosses. Replace all text fields to be clearer and more optimized. This is still ongoing. There's some conversation in public tests today about how there's still some of these they're catching. Player position is saved on manual save. That's good. I didn't know that wasn't happening, but seems like that should happen. Clicking outside the map pen input closes the input field now. And I think there's still some discussion going about that. On the Xbox, added auto run toggle to accessibility setting on Xbox. Changing snapping doesn't make you fly down anymore. Good idea. Chat no longer opens when opening the info panel. And opening settings for the first time no longer freezes the game. I'm going to say Xbox players are going to be happy about that. Also, regarding getting new content in an existing world, there was a good idea that someone said, I want a way to delete world chunks because, you know, the world is generated in chunks. To generate new ones when there comes new stuff. Is that on the roadmap? And programmer Jonathan Smart says, yeah, I've been thinking we should probably support that. Yay! That's a genius idea. especially on really old worlds or dedicated servers where a lot of the world is already discovered. That would be a good vanilla way also to make sure that new content gets put into an existing world. If you haven't heard about the Unity debacle going on, Unity is what Valheim is developed on, and there was this announcement last week that they're going to start charging money for downloads, and the entire gaming world blew up, and everybody's lost their mind because this could put development companies out of business, especially small companies. Valheim hasn't given any kind of official comment on this yet. They're officially being kind of closed-lipped about it and seeing what's going to happen, I think. But individually, some of the devs have been making their thoughts known. And of course, it seems like they're not crazy about this development, and I don't blame them. Could this lead to issues with Valheim development in the future? Well, that remains to be seen, and we'll see what's happening. Because Unity has now come out and said, oh, we're sorry, we didn't mean to cause so much angst and cause all these problems, and we're going to change things, and we're going to make it better. But honestly, a lot of people are still very suspicious of this apology. I mean, the kickback has been real. They even had to close some offices last week because of receiving potential threats. Now, I am not at all about that. Violence is not the answer, people. But there's a lot of concern that developers have lost their trust with Unity, and they've lost thousands of companies already that are saying that, we can't trust you. They were even talking about maybe making all these fees retroactive. There was concerns about how dev companies could get trolled and have to pay a lot of money. I mean, it was a lot. Supposedly, they're going to have another statement out in the next day or two, and we'll see what kind of response they come up with of how they're going to try and make it better. So when we know anything, especially as how it relates to Valheim, I will let you know. I have a question for you about Valheim. You know how we have the sealed tower now that we got with Hilder's request? Technically, it's a dungeon, right? But it's also a building out there, and you can build on it. Literally, you have to build on it to get inside it. But you cannot build inside it at all. Shouldn't we be able to build inside it? I mean, it is a building. I'd really like to. What do you think? Like and subscribe for all things Valheim. Happy gaming!